We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hey, what's up? This is gospelrhythms.com Talk Live Radio Word Edition. I'm here with your girl.
I'm Pastor Dawn, and I'm here with Ro on the Word Edition of gospelrhythms.com with her non-football jersey wearing self. For the 5 of you that are not watching the Super Bowl, she did not support.
Wait, I'm supporting the Ravens. That's who I got. And aren't their colors black? Right? And I'm dressed for the funeral that the 49ers are about to have. That's the way I see it.
I'm always going to support the Detroit Lions. They are not in the Super Bowl, but they in the Super Bowl of my heart today. So I'm a represent. It was Jersey Day at the #1 church in LA, Faith Inspirational. So we represented in the jerseys today. But we are here on the first Sunday like we always are for the Word Edition of gospelrhythms.com. And we are excited. Ro, tell us what happened the last week.
Yeah, we're gonna recap last week. It was great. With this. This is actually the first February, so we're gonna get into some Black history and then the month of love and everything. But today, as I reflect on last week, it was a wonderful time. We had Robert Grant, who is a worship leader. He's working on an album. He actually is the brother-in-law of Trisha Mann. Okay. So he came in to bless us. We had a previously book guest that didn't make it, so he was able to come in lieu of them being here. So that was definitely a blessing. So, it's always good to sit with a brother in the Lord and, to get his perspective on his view and his walk and his ministry and his calling. And so it was very insightful, just to be able to hear him share his journey as he's even evolving continuously as to the things that God is laying before him to do. So his name is Robert Grant. Check out last week's show. And it was the Life Edition. So that's some of the things we do. We just talk about, working out our faith in on this side of heaven and keeping it real and keeping it honest. So, and we got a chance, like I said, to actually hear from a brother in the Lord. And we just had fun. So that was last week.
We're going to have some fun today, too. We decided to go ahead and do the show today, even though it is Super Bowl Sunday, because in the Word Edition, we believe even on Super Bowl Sunday, you still need some word. And so if out of today's show, one person finds Jesus, one person gets strength, one person gets hope, then it was worth us doing what we are doing. Just in case you don't care about San Fran, the Baltimore, Beyonce.
Even if you do care about them, we got a super God and we're here to have fun. So, they have a halftime, they have a break in every sports game for a reason. Because you just need to take, even with, you just might take a time out, get a little praise on, get a little fun on, because we're going to have fun. We got some trivia. You see how, bright you are. And not only in Black history, but how about this Black sports history?
All right.
I got one for you.
Oh, don't start.
I'll bet you if I said we're raffling off, or whoever gets it, one of these questions, we have a Mercedes Benz as the prize. Everybody be posted up. They be like, forget the game. Or then you at least pull us up on your phone. We can be picked up on your smartphone, your iPhone, and all that.
So we're gonna reiterate, we did not say we were giving away any cars today.
Where'd you got to qualify? They didn't quite sink in. It's not like I said.
The Word Edition. We got to keep
I'm just
it
kidding.
real.
I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it real though. But it's gonna be fun. Like I asked this one last year. Do you know who the first African American was to win the Heisman Trophy?
Girl, please.
I know, right?
I couldn't tell you red, black, or brown who won it.
Well, 1961, Ernie Davis, halfback Ernie Davis.
Google is priceless.
In Syracuse, yeah, Google really is, was the first African American to win the Heisman Trophy. So there you have it, our sports Black History Month edition of our first, at least you can leave a little knowledge in addition to some fun knowledge. And just as a reminder, I am here dressed in black to be prepared to eulogize the 49ers, not to alienate any of the, because I know I'm on the West Coast.
Ray Lewis. Okay, what you say?
I'm just saying. If I'm back from East, I got to support my peeps. The Steelers couldn't make it, so if I can't have the gold, at least I got the black. What can I say?
Oh Lord. Well, let let me tell you about today's show. Today's show, we're going to talk about the impact of reality TV on reality. So even though today is the Word Edition, we know that many Christians are wrapped up into the Housewives of this and Love and Hip this and, all of the different shows that are out there, Real World, all of it. The Real World was the one that started it out years ago. Actually, you know what's funny?
Survivor and all of them. They have other ones too,
Yeah,
like
all
Dancing
of
with the
those.
Stars, Biggest Loser. I mean,
That's
not even
my
know.
show.
Let's put some ones you like in there. Okay, don't just talk about the Atlanta Housewives or Love and Hip Hop shows.
But we want to talk about the dramatic impact, and the dramatic impact has not come from the Dancing with the Stars and hasn't come from the Biggest Losers and the Survivors. The dramatic impact has come from all of these where we get to see the behind the scenes lifestyle stuff, where we get to see people, fighting and cussing each other out and having sex with whoever, and our whole point today, because of course we're bringing you this in light of the Word, in light of your role and your belief and your stance that you are a sold out, born again Christian. What does this do to you to let all of this come into you? Is it hurting you? Is it harming you? If you're watching a marathon for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours of the latest Housewives of Detroit, does it hurt you when you keep hearing one woman after another call, you this, and I'm taking your man, and I'm this, and I'm that, and the other? So our whole thing is, what we want you to do right now is get ready for reality's impact on reality.
And this reality radio will be available for you to call in if you'd like to throw your 20 cents in at 323-247-7443. So as they say, mount up with your comments, your criticisms, your concern. It seems that we have a caller already.
All right.
Ding, ding, ding. I didn't even hear the fight didn't even begin yet. We didn't even say anything. Okay. Hello. Welcome to gospelrhythms.com. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello. Where's our caller? Did we lose our caller? Hey, you're on the air
Hello?
live.
Hey, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't even know that I was talking. I don't even know what this is. I just got a text message.
Oh.
Okay, well, why don't you hold tight, because we're going to talk about some real provocative statements, and we're going to be talking about the Kim Kardashians and keeping up with the Kardashians and all of this stuff and what impact it has. And as you listen to the show, I know you're going to either have a comment or a question. You're going to have something that has challenged you or impact you. When you're watching, the Basketball Wives, how does that affect you to see another woman jump up on a table and run across the table to bust another woman in the head with a wine bottle? Does that impact you? What does it do to you as your Christianity? So hang in with us, call back in, and give us about 5 or 10 minutes. You'll really get the heart of the show under your belt, and then you'll know exactly where you can go with your comment.
And again, that's at latalklive.com. What's the title? The reality of reality.
Reality's
TV.
Impact on reality. Reality TV's impact on reality.
Yeah. So we appreciate you. Tweet, Facebook, Twitter.
Get
your
it
friends
out.
and homies, get it out there. Hey, we love to hear from you across, not just in the U.S. but across the world. This is an international, worldwide
You got that
show.
right.
So thank you for calling in. And what's your name?
Maybe.
Oh yeah, we lost her.
Maybe we lost her.
Okay.
Maybe
We'll
we
call
lost her.
back. Yay!
My phone is blowing up of people with questions and all kind of stuff, and we just gonna pray.
Send a text back, latalklive.com, because
That's
sometimes
right.
our folks are very internet challenged, even in this day and age.
Amen. Well, what we want to get into is that in the Bible it says that it's not what goes into a man, but what comes out of him that absolutely defiles him. And so when Jesus challenged us with this statement in the Gospel of Mark, what does that do to you to watch anything and watch everything? Does it impact how you have a relationship when you watch people be so promiscuous? I was sharing with some young people the other day that, and I'm about to date myself, but I don't have a problem with that because I'm proud to be 43. I look good, I know. So anyway.
You better work it, girl.
I am. So we talked about the fact I was telling them about the first real world. And how when this came on, all of the critics were like, who want to watch people live in a house and just come in and come out and all of this? And I said it really was controversial as to whether or not people wanted to watch something where there weren't real actors. That didn't make sense to the public back in the early 80s that people would actually watch that. Now it's just flip the script. You can't get something with a script on TV.
Actors
They're
can't
like,
get work now.
you want to do a sitcom? I grew up in the Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. And so our relationships were shaped by, Shirley falling in love with Carmine and Richie loving Lori Beth. Anybody know what I'm talking about? These are Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley characters. Now, however, then came in shows like Dynasty and Dallas. And of course, everybody was always watching the soap operas. But all of these scripted lives. And it was something about you always knowing it wasn't quite real. God, thank you so much. Somebody know. Somebody feeling me. That's right. Every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, we were right there.
Were they
ready
still
to
showing
rock.
the beds separate, like the husband and wife weren't sleeping in the same bed back then? I'm just asking. I ain't dating myself.
Okay, that was Lucy. That was I Love Lucy. Lucy and Desi. Okay, I got news for you. On Happy Days, they slept in one bed. They ain't show nothing, but needless to say, this had a lot to do with shaping our values. And when Real World came along, the first season didn't have a lot of controversial stuff. However, on the second season, they had a character named Pedro, and he was a homosexual. And they were like, oh my God, you're going to show the life of a gay man on TV. Oh my God. And I mean, it had just so much press because of that. Now it's like you got a show and you don't have a gay man, you don't have a gay woman. What's that?
Or now they have shows that it's all about. What's that show that was with all women on Lifetime or something?
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the
name.
name.
I can't think of the name.
The Real L Word.
The L Word, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, and what about the gay designers, the Clean House or the on Bravo? You remember those guys? No. Okay. That's
like,
just remembers the
that.
lesbian show. He doesn't know the gay guy show. But the gay guy designers, they even had a show.
Something about dressing a guy or something. I can't remember. But the point is the kids thought I was crazy for how old school this sounded when I said we didn't talk. I told them even when I was in school, if you were a gay man, maybe you came out. But gay women, oh, you certainly didn't come out. Wasn't no kissing no girls.
When I was in school, there wasn't any gay guys coming out. It was on the low.
Very
ultra
low. Very
like.
low. Now it's not on the low anymore. When we got every show on TV has this representation. What does it do to you to watch and watch and watch when it's not scripted anymore, when it's reality? Shawnee O'Neal, who is the executive producer of The Basketball Wives, really caught a lot of flack last season for her representation of the African American woman. Like, okay, do y'all ever do anything strong? Do you ever say anything positive? Or is every conversation gonna be that, this, da 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 da? And are you fighting each other on every show? So her promise to herself, to the nation, I should say, was to become more responsible in her broadcasting. Because anybody who's ever seen any of the reality TV stars that have become reality stars, they say it's actually very scripted.
Oh, it is.
It's very scripted.
Really is.
Hulk Hogan, who had the show Hogan, I think it was Hogan Knows Best or something like that. And then his daughter Brooke had one. Brooke, he said it would cost millions. It would absolutely be not economical to just shoot somebody for hours and hours and hope something dramatic happen. So what the producers on reality shows do, he said, is they set up a scene. He said, and they set it up and they call it what's called a soft script. So they say, here, talk about this, and then you give your real response to this. So they give them situations they not necessarily would have found themselves in. And that's why you see some of the drama that you see.
And the unorganic aspect of it is they'll reshoot it if a fighter, but you know what, we didn't quite get that.
Absolutely.
Because somebody got in the way. So can we reenact that all again? So
that's right.
It's just like,
even some people on Survivor said that if they knew that a certain scene didn't make sense because there wasn't a setup for it, they would have the actors react it like, okay, we know we didn't have the cameras on you when you were in the tent in the back of the woods having this conversation, so have it again.
Yeah.
And so, we call it reality, however, it's very set up. So what's the setup? Is there truly a behind the scenes scheme to our world, to bring us down, to tear us down. Because when I start thinking, I got to fight everybody my man interested in, and you got the new shows. Me and you were talking about the one that just got canceled. It got canceled before it ever saw the light of day. Was All My Baby's Mamas.
All My Baby's Mamas. I'm like, really? This
Right.
brother got how many baby mamas he had? 11, or do he have 11 kids?
It was 11
ridiculous
babies
number.
mamas. Yeah, it was something crazy.
And they actually gave that fool a show.
But, however, the network got so much flack about it prior to it being released that they canceled the show prior to that. But the point is that give us a storyline, we'll give you a show. Put your business out there, we'll give you a show. One of the new shows out there is called Sisterhood, which is a brand new show about the first ladies of Atlanta. And I wasn't watching it. And I had all these people say, well, Pastor Dawn, you need to watch this because it's just a shame that people are presenting first ladies in this light. And so I caught up on it on YouTube, of course, and watched the 3 episodes that had aired. And I was like, it's very real. I mean, all first ladies aren't one way, but anybody who wants to say no first lady is like that, I think you're a liar before God. It's my opinion. Just my opinion. However, I think it's a real good platform to see behind the scenes. The pastors are just as much a part of that show as the first ladies are, but it's real. What I like about it is even though they are fighting, they not, this be this and this be that, and ain't nobody jumping across no table at each other. And show me, I can disagree with you, disagree strongly, but I don't have to tear you down
Or knock you out.
Right. Exactly. So the point of today's show is, as a Christian, if I'm watching, Love and Hip Hop or any of those other ones, and I'm letting that shape my thinking. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And I'm letting that because if faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God, what I hear and what I allow in my ear gate does begin to shape how I think. And if I'm constantly watching stuff day after day, hour after hour, stuff I claim I don't believe in, stuff I claim violates my word, my law, my Lord, is that right? Is that real?
I knew what the topic was, so leading up to this, one of my favorite channels is the Sci-Fi Channel. And I watched
show on the Sci-Fi Channel.
No, but they have shows like Drag Me to Hell. That was a crazy show. And all the while I'm watching it, I'm thinking, I know what this show is going to be on Sunday. I wonder if this is kind of, it wasn't reality, it was fantasy, but it was just so intriguing because, again, and I watched The Omen and The Devil's Advocate, because I guess this was, warring behind the scenes week on Sci-Fi Channel for some reason. But it always interests me, those kind of things, but it's all fantasy. It's not real. So as you were saying that about reality TV, what you said to me began to say, I was thinking, well, is it the same for just regular TV too? Because I'm like, I kind of like horror movies, at least some of them. And I'm like, is that a bad thing? It's fantasy. Well, some of it is,
I think anything that you saturate yourself with and you just watch and you watch and you watch. I mean, it's not my thing. I'm not a horror flick kind of chick. I'm not going to watch nothing about how the devil got into the nuns and made the nuns kill the town and all of that. I ain't trying to get nobody no movie idea, howsoever. My point is, I'm not watching stuff that glorifies the enemy. I'm not watching stuff this is one of the reasons why it's so hard for those of us who work for the kingdom to get the body of Christ to believe the devil does not have more power than God, because they've seen so much stuff in Hollywood that they started to say, oh, the devil can get inside of me and he can make me do this. And then you say, okay, well, have you ever heard that he that is in you is greater than he that's in the world? And if the devil could possess a Christian, wouldn't he have possessed Peter and Paul and the other disciples and stopped the spread of the gospel in the first place? So, of course, if you watch that and watch it and watch it, I was one of those parents that did not let my children watch the Harry Potters and all of that because I did not want them. Oh, sorry about that.
Mic malfunction. Somebody trying to stop you from talking.
That's all right. He that is in the studio is greater. But needless to say, I didn't let him watch that kind of stuff because I did not want, again, the devil, his work, what he does to be glorified, or them to begin to think that witchery or wizardry was cute. was fun, was fantasy. Ain't nothing cute about flirting with darkness. And what I believe, and this is in my heart, that what we see in the majority of reality TV programming today on all of these different series, and some of these series, Bachelor number 17 and Bachelorette number 9, and some of this stuff, one man come on and get to sleep with 40 women, and America goes, bravo, when is the next season starting?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, just the fact that he was kissing them like with the tongue, like that was kind of nasty to me. I'm like,
Oh, the kissing was worse than making love?
well, I don't know what they do. I didn't see that part. I mean, do they? I don't watch that show at all. But I'm just saying the kissing part you see because in the clips and stuff you see them embrace. I'm like, how emotionally are you even wired like that? I mean, guys can be, they don't care because it's all physical for them. But a female, like when they have the bachelorette, it's like, how are you even wired to have a conflict of emotion between 3 or 4 men? I mean, it might be
the theme of the show. Because if I begin to let reality TV shape my reality, now what I say is, she's
White
not
swap.
connected. I don't have to be connected. She kissed Joe at 5. She kissed Tim at 7. She, went on a date with 4 of them at one time, went into 4 different rooms, kissed all of them, made love to 2 of them. It was okay for TV. It's okay for me. And that is what we do. And here's the thing. We excuse behavior because life begins to imitate art.
Well, they're getting the art from life, just like that show where the one guy with what's it called? He got a bunch of wives.
That dumb show. I'm sorry.
Real dumb show.
Sister Wives.
Sister wives. Like, really?
That
Why
is
can't they have, brother husbands? Why can't the women? I'm just saying, I ain't trying to put an idea out
It's
there.
just the fact
I'm
that
just saying,
they're
that's
okay
wrong.
with it. Exactly.
Yeah, sister
But
wives.
here's the crazy part. I never see it, but I always see the commercial for it. The commercial is all about one disgruntled wife that's like,
Not getting
I
enough
don't get
attention.
right. I don't get to see you.
I'm just like, and?
I didn't sign up for this. Well, okay. When
yeah.
he had 5 other wives.
Did you not get did you not see the memo before you entered his, compound?
Exactly. And here's the thing. If what happens when you watch all of this is it begins to desensitize us. So what we want to do is we want to take your calls. We want you to call into the studio live here at the LA Talk Live studio at 323-247-7443. And we want to take your comments and your questions. When I look at somebody like a Kim Kardashian, wonderful girl, I'm not saying anything about the girl herself, but could it be the way she is living her life is absolutely impacting so many other people? You say, well, what are you talking about? She's married to one man, pregnant by another, and everybody want to say hip hip hooray, good job.
Somebody's looking up to her. Somebody's daughter or little kid is looking up to her, wanting to wear her makeup, wanting to get her shoes.
Right.
It's like you're a role model. You just by virtue of where your life has brought you. Unfortunately, it may have been the sex tape that gave you more exposure, but in taking that into account, you would think that would want to put you in a position where you live a little cleaner. So because everybody has something that they've done and made a mistake they've made in their past. So nobody is.
But she has a sister who has made a lifestyle out of, I don't want this man to be my husband, but I'll have these babies by him because I just want all my babies to have the same baby daddy. And so I think it's okay. We don't have to get married. And again, I'm not talking about the world in general because the Bible tells me don't even try to judge the world, but those in the church, when you call yourself a believer, and one of the things they're always saying on the Kardashians is Bible. Okay, you swear that on Bible? Okay, you mean that to Bible? Okay, if you swear that to before God and da-da-da-da-da-da. Again, great family. I'm not telling you that any of these people are bad people. It's some of their choices. Have their choices and their lifestyles impacted who you are, the way you think, the way you speak? Because I will tell you, for me, myself, I watched a marathon of Love and Hip Hop. I had never seen this new season. And after watching
Which one? The one with Stevie J and the mistress and the baby mama, 14 years that he never married? Was that the installment?
I don't even know.
That was crazy.
Because
I too have been a reality show junkie. I mean, but I got to tell you, my reasoning for being drawn into it, because it's almost like, wow, my life ain't so bad.
Right.
I'm like, wow, really? I can't believe that they allowed the television to be a platform to air their laundry like this.
But see, that's the deception of the enemy. Draw me in under the guise of entertaining me, but do I behave differently after I've watched it? because I can tell you that after a couple of hours, you have to get desensitized to one woman calling another woman B, because it's all through the show. You got to get desensitized to, okay, the way we're going to solve this is we're going to fight about it, and I'm going to get all up in your face and throw a drink at you and da-da-da-da-da-da, because that's all you see the whole time. And if that begins to shape who you are as a man of God, as a woman of God, have we bought in to the deception of the enemy? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. We want you to call during our break. Again, the LA Talk Live studio in-house number is 323-247-7443. We're going to come back right here with more of GospelRhythms.com, Heaven's Party, right here on earth. I'm Pastor Dawn.
And I'm Rue Williams.
And we'll be right back here with more after this break. Reality's impact on reality.
Super Bowl Super God edition. The Word edition.
Are you ready to enjoy the Maui lifestyle? You can have it all by owning real estate on the Paradise Island of Maui. Dennis Rush, a 22-year Maui resident and real estate broker, brings his wealth of experience and market knowledge to add value to your Maui real estate understanding, providing a level of service as unique and exceptional as the island of Maui itself. The magical island of Maui was voted the most exclusive resort island in the world by Condé Nast Traveler, and keep in mind, Maui is only a simple, non-stop flight away. Hawaii Business Magazine Top 100 Realtors awarded Dennis Rush the 2011 fourth top realtor on the island of Maui. Go to www.dennisrush.com to view all of the amazing properties currently available in the Maui MLS system. Whatever your needs or desires, Dennis Rush will provide a private consultation for any Maui properties your heart desires. You will be in good hands. Once again, go to www.dennisrush.com. That's www.dennisrush.com. Contact Dennis today to start your Maui lifestyle now. Dennis Rush, proud sponsors of the Dawn Christie Show and LA Talk Live.
Hi, this is Susie Pruden. And yes, you've seen me on Oprah, Good Morning America, and The Today Show. And I'm inviting you to join me every Monday from 3 to 4 for my new show, Mastermind Live. Join us as we introduce you to the new thought leaders of the world who will inspire you, support you, and guide you to your next level. So don't forget to tune into Mastermind Live exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Susan Levin, owner and founder of Speaker Services, inviting you to join me and co-host Jean Noel Bassiar on Monday evenings, 5 p.m. Pacific, for our new show, Talk Up Your Business, Speak Your Way to More Profits. We'll be talking to you about how to use your expertise to grow your business or service through speaking. Our expert speakers and author guests will share their stories and success secrets with you. Don't forget to tune in to Talk Up Your Business Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
This is your sports moment in Black history. Long before Serena and Venus Williams were dominating women's tennis, there was Althea Gibson. In 1950, Althea became the first Black woman to play at the U.S. Nationals. She advanced to the second round of the tournament and showed many ignorant tennis fans that the African Americans belonged on the tennis court. In 1957, she won the U.S. Nationals and Wimbledon and was welcomed home with a big parade. Althea Gibson.
This is our moment in Black history.
Black sports history, hey. Welcome back.
That's a terrible thing to waste. I'm Pastor Dawn.
I'm Ro Williams, and this is our Super Bowl Super God reality.
GospelRhythms.com, reality's impact on reality. Reality TV's impact on my reality, your reality. And Ro and I were just talking during the commercial break about, I love Jesus as much as I do, and she loves Jesus as much as she does. And we sold out, reading our word, prayer warriors, going on fast, all of this. And we get drawn in. What are the kids? What are the young folks? What's going on with them after they watch hours and hours and hours of this? And so if you are out there and you are addicted to reality TV, and you can tell us everything about, everybody who is a Kardashian, you can tell us everything that happens on Housewives of Atlanta, and everything that happens on Housewives of Hollywood, and what is it, Jersey, and
Starter wives, swap wives,
mob wives, and
oh yeah, we forgot about them. Gloria.
They crazy on that.
Man.
But the point is, if you can tell us everything about every show, my God, how much have you let into you? And
or maybe you have a kid that's addicted to it that you're trying to
if we were really just talking about problems with the young people, I don't think that this would have grabbed me. I just know fully grown folk just addicted, just can tell you everything that happens on every show. I happen to be, and people can call it boring or whatever, I'm addicted to HGTV. I love it. I could watch HGTV for hours because redecorate a home, start something over, and I'm sold. I'm gonna watch hours of House Hunters and all that kind of stuff because I like non-violent. Don't tear me down. Don't get me to cuss out my girl or my man or anything else. Just entertain me. Just entertain me. Good old fashioned entertainment.
But I think that shows like my new guilty pleasure, Scandals, and I love crime shows. I love NCIS. They introduce a world that we'll never work in, and so I think we get drawn into the fantasy of that. Likewise with these reality shows, we always wonder. Matter of fact, to me, they're co-signing on what we pretty much thought it would be like to be with a ball player, hell on earth. And because they're confirming what we pretty much knew, they're just going to cheat on you. They're not going to be good to you. They'll lavish you with, get you pregnant a couple times. They'll lavish you with gifts. And we know what to expect, but it's almost like, yeah, I'm not surprised at that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you're a bit bitter and you want to beat up your girl because, her life is better than yours for today.
Right.
And
that's the crazy part, because you look at some of these shows, like Basketball Wives, and nobody on the show is a wife.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Nobody on the show. Okay, you call it Housewives of Atlanta. Nobody is a housewife. Nobody is even married.
But then with Mob Wives, they're all really married to these guys that did time for the most part. Well, most of them are, more than in the other shows. But the fact that they're glorifying the fact that your man used to commit crimes that probably ended with some people kicking up dirt.
Right.
Really?
But I'm Dirty Joe's girl.
Yeah, he's doing life as they smoke through their neck. Right. for knocking off a whole city of people.
But and it's the my whole point of today is for us as Christians to begin to look at how much of that is getting inside of me. How much of that dictates how I treat my husband and how I treat my children, how I treat myself. If I begin to think, one of the things that was talked about on the internet is that the levels of promiscuity, binge drinking, drug addiction, as well as just multiple sex partners, it just went through the roof as so many of these shows became mainstream, hit the top 10, and were number one. People were literally, life was imitating art, and people were like, it's okay for me to this and it's okay for me to that. Ro and I were talking during a commercial break. I can again remember back in the 80s. That sounds so long ago. Help me God. Okay, I can remember back in the 80s, the first time Joan Collins, who played Alexis on Dynasty, the first time she called Crystal a bitch. And they were
Ooh, you
like,
said a bad word. No.
they wrote about it in every show, on every news channel, everywhere. They were like, oh my God. But it was when we turned our head to that one word coming on. Now we hear everything. And then the bleep, come on, the bleep ain't even a real bleep no more. I don't even know
Oh,
why they
yeah.
even still do. You hear the whole thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
it's
It's like
like-
ridiculous.
click, right. And it's like, really? So, again, when I get through watching that, do I think this is how I need to fight with my man, and you ain't gonna talk to me, and you ain't gonna this, and you ain't gonna that? And that's where we become. Do I have a child who I may be teaching one thing about alternative lifestyles, but because he or she sees that everywhere they go, what's the problem? I'm just exploring who I am. I'm just, exploring my sexuality. And isn't it all right? Why you want to stop me from being me? And I was born this way. TV is educating us. TV is educating us. So, my thing is when you find yourself, vegging out in front of the TV for hours, what's your mindset when you get up from it?
Well, first I want to say the number is 323-247-7443. Feel free to call in so I will get out of the hot seat. Again, 323-247-7443. Now, back to the question. Feel free to call in now.
And I'm talking about the crazy shows too.
Yeah, I know which ones. I mean, the crazy
Come on,
shows,
tell
like
me
when
your
I was
poison of
watching
choice.
I was really into the hip hop, Love and Hip Hop, with Stevie J was on there, because it was unfathomable to me that they would not have walked off, the meaning the woman, like he had one girl who was his artist that he was producing, but he was sleeping with her, and then he had his baby mama of 14 plus years who got his kids, who he was splitting his time between. And it got exposed on the reality show that he came in walking to his baby mama with the actual pregnancy test that was handed to him from his artist slash lover.
Confused me, but okay, I'm keeping up.
Okay, no, seriously. And the thing about it is, when they had the reunion show, it even came out that not only did he probably need to go into sex therapy, because they actually had therapy. He told that his baby mama that he wanted to go to therapy with her, but then he wanted to invite his lover, Jocelyn, lover slash artist, to the therapy session. And at first she was like, "Are you out your mind? You know what? This is gonna be funny. I want to see how this go down." So the three of them were sitting up there with the therapist, and Jocelyn is like taken aback because he done led her to believe that he has moved out and hasn't moved back in and has not been living with his baby's mama. And then when it comes out that no, indeed, that girl has allowed him to come back home, which I think is ridiculous.
So what part of
She
this
hits him.
shocked you? What part of this shocked you?
The fact that they would allow it to be so public. I mean, it's gonna keep you on your seat, like waiting until the next episode. Like, I cannot believe, like, what girl would do that? I mean, your check must be really good. You must be getting $75,000 an episode to really go to that length.
Everybody want to be a star. It's kind of like the women that sell themselves out.
That's being a sucker.
But you gotta, they call them reality celebs, and real actors call them non-celebs. But the point is, if I can go on 16 and Pregnant, hey, I'm a celebrity.
I forgot about that. That one, that one's really sad.
If I can be on Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives, Atlanta's Housewives, I'm a celebrity. They jocking for me in the airport. And as long as somebody wants to get to know me and something, I don't care what you see about me. This latest thing is out about this girl, Kenya Moore, in the Real Housewives.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Her scene with her man wasn't real, and that she was really, I thank God it wasn't real, because this girl was looking like a fool on there.
Exactly.
Begging
he
this
was
man
too. He was too, for even allowing to. I mean, once it really got out that she pretty much asked him would he come on board to do that.
But he said it was to get his
stupid.
quote unquote, what everybody else is out, 15 minutes of fame. And I personally believe 15 minutes of fame in the 2013 world we live in is now 5 minutes of fame, because Jersey Shore and all of them, you only hype for 5 minutes. People only remember you. Then what's your claim to fame? What did you do? And the thing about MTV, VH1, BET, some of these people made a career out of being on show after show after show after show. And his whole thing was, hey, I get to mention my towing business and my business going to go up because you get to see me. And so now with the whole thing that marketing is playing, they call it ad placement. So if I can put this can of Coke, or I can put this, this Procter and Gamble item or whatever, now I can put that on the show and you can wear my shirt that says such and such is the best, whatever. Now you make us want to go get it. You make us want to see more. And the thing is that, I'm not trying to stop the world from watching. I'm really not. I'm just want Christians today to say, what impact has reality TV had on my reality? Because if I brought it into my home, if it shapes my thinking, if it shapes my speaking, then I truly, truly, truly have allowed it to do something. What you thinking, Neff? What's wrong?
I just wanted to add 2 cents on there because you're talking about reality TV. And one of the things that I always ask people is if they remember which one was the first reality television show to really sweep America. And it's actually the longest running, you could say, sitcom to this date.
SNL.
Nope.
No?
The first one that they actually give credit for is Candid Camera.
Nope.
Which one you talking about?
The one that revolutionized television as we know it, more than Candid Camera, more than...
I want to guess.
What one did you say?
We said Real World.
Nope. The one that revolutionized television as we know it started when the first strike occurred with the writer's strike in the mid-'80s. And the first show that spawned out of that, which became a huge sensation and to this date is the #1 reality TV's rated show, Cops.
Oh, yeah.
Because you really do not need a
Bad
script.
Boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when it comes for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is right, because that's real. That's real
reality.
time.
That was real.
That was
and
reality.
now we want to see them tow away cars. They got the parking wars.
Oh, yeah,
They got
like who would have
storage
thought
wars.
that you
They
can
got
make a show out of writing parking tickets?
out of
They
parking tickets.
They will think of a reality
But you
show
know
for
what? We get
everything.
excited. Long as you get cussed out for giving that parking ticket, I'm gonna tune
But
in
then
next week.
But why is that? Why
Then
is
you got
that?
Duck Dynasty because they,
Oh, I
making
watched
Duck-
that show. I'm just like, really?
Now,
Are you
and
kidding
let
me?
me say that I don't want to come off as anti-reality because
It's just funny.
I
to
do
me.
love my Biggest Losers. I do love my Dancing with the Stars. I really love the new ones like the Braxtons and Mary Mary. I love those. I really do. Because to me, show me something that's always not so violent and all. I think hits like that, like the Braxton Family Values, I really do believe that shows like that show you ain't gotta go there. You don't have to show me 10 girls in a house fighting over one man. You don't have to show me, one guy, there was a show back some years ago on MTV called Tequila something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But it was about a girl who was bisexual.
Tila Tequila.
Yeah, Tila Tequila on
Okay,
MTV.
why you know her
one?
now?
Oh, she was in the studio.
I just
Yeah.
remember the female shows.
And she didn't even.
But she was bisexual. So half the house was
that
women
was crazy.
that were jocking for her, and half the show were men that were. Well, here's the crazy part. She ended up choosing a man at the end, and I don't even know what season it was. But here's how it made news for me: is the man she chose said that at the end he never saw her after the finale. He never saw her again. They never gave him her number, and they said she has a man. This was really just for television, and boom, it was over.
Wow.
And so, but you
and
look
then that
at,
man she had ended up beating her up, and she was in the news.
right,
That
and
football player.
exactly. Look at somebody, and then you
Wasn't
got
he a
people who
49er?
revive their careers, like a Flavor Flav. Who would ever
Oh
think?
heck! But you know what? That was my show. I was like,
Okay, don't admit
wait,
that.
no,
I
that
need
was
you-
my show
need you-
because I
hold
work
on.
with Flavor
Turn her
Flav.
mic off.
No, because first of all, I was just in awe every week. Like, really? You guys are probably not even getting paid.
Flavor
That's
Flav.
what I'm saying. I love
I mean,
you, Flav.
Jesus,
No
everybody
disrespect,
is beautiful.
but
in-
you about 90. You know.
everybody beautiful in your eyes. How
Oh,
so?
my
Never.
goodness. I know.
By the time they got to Flavor Flav choosing like the 7th time or 8th time, and then I Love New York spun off of that, and then she
Oh
get
wait,
4, 5,
what
6
about
shows.
him with Bridget Nielsen? That reality show was
Just
ridiculous.
crazy.
Foo, we love you, Foofy.
But
Foofy.
look at how addicted we've gotten. They got the drug rehab one where we want to see people go through rehab.
Oh, yeah.
Now they got
Couples
the couples
therapy.
therapy because now I want to see you have trouble. We have become addicted to people putting their pain
Yeah, I was
on
getting ready to say
display.
that. That's what it is.
If you
Let's
show
keep it
me how
real.
you hurt and you show me how broken you are, I'm addicted to watch it. And like you said,
That's why
I'm going to
MMA
tune
is so
in next
popular.
week. I'm gonna tune in next week. And stuff like what we just call Cops and SNL and all these other. That's not real reality, because guess what? We get to see those people for 2.2 seconds out of their life. That's why I was shocked, Neff, when they listed Candid Camera as the original. I'm like, we get to see those people. I'm not talking about people who we get to see for 2.2 seconds on Let's Make a Deal. I'm talking about people we get vested in their lives. We know they mama. We know they
We
babies.
know them more than we know the word.
Right.
You're like, I spent more time with the housewives.
What's John 3:16? I don't know, but I can tell you what happened between Nene and Sheree. So that's my point of us beginning to be mindful of what we let inside of us. And so now, like you brought up the interesting point, Ro, if I step outside of reality TV and I bring in horror flicks, and I bring in just, am I up at night watching Cinemax and Showtime, Skinemax, and, all of this. And I think it's nothing wrong with it. I think it's okay. And then I tell, I was watching one show. It's not a reality show. The Game. I was watching The Game a couple of seasons ago.
Marrying the Game, the reality show, or The Game?
The Game
on BET. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I can't think of the characters' names on the show, but it's the girl who's married to the football player. Her girlfriends say, "You so boring. You the most boring wife there is. You need to spice up your marriage and bring in a second girl. If you don't have a menage a trois with your husband." And I was shocked and appalled, because I was like, oh my God, how many people are going to imitate this? How many people are going to say, oh, that's what I need to do? We bored because I have never brought in another girl. I've never let him tie me up, beat me, pee on me, or nothing else. And so now...
Did she just go there?
Yes, come down, R. Kelly.
Yeah, I know if I don't do nothing, I'm going to keep it real.
I don't know what.
R. Kelly, I'm not giving you no shout out right now.
Whoever put that out the box, they can put that back in the box. So I'm like box of tricks.
But it's women out there to say, if that's what it take for me to get them, if that's what it take for me to keep them, I'll do it. You can do that to me. Yeah. And so when I watch that, in that particular episode, and let me give some credit to the writers of The Game, that they end up having her not go through with it. But the point was that she was this close. Oh yeah. She was this close. The girl came in and was on top of her husband.
Yeah.
Right. But the point is we watch stuff like that and we begin to get our ideals and we begin to build our fantasies. And okay, so now in order for marriage to stay hot, I don't need to love you and give you my all, and we live according to the word, and we find us a pastor that speaks into our life, and we become members of the marriage ministry. Now, how far and how much of your sexual fantasies can I fulfill? Because if we don't go to the swingers convention, and if I'm not wearing, nipple clamps and all this other stuff, you bored with me, and you looking outside the room. And it's like, again, I use the word going into the break, desensitize. How desensitized do we get to the abnormal? We just on the Favor of God ministry, we just came off of this 21-day fast. And during the 21-day fast, I had to fast on the show LA Law and Order. SVU units, because I'm telling you get to the point where everybody is suspect to me now, and I come down the hallway looking in every closet and
like you can't even hold my dog.
Right. And I tell people all the time, I'm looking at stuff. If you get to the crime scene, don't touch nothing. Why? Because it got in me, and God told me that stuff has really got in your head now. And the thing is, I once had a detective tell me back in Detroit, he told me, if you guys really knew how much stuff really went on in the city would be in sheer chaos. He said, we can't let out all the stuff we see, because you would literally think we were living in pandemonium. And when you watch something like an SVU and you see the extent of iniquity, the extent of, forget sin, I mean just sickness, sickness. And God told me, you keep letting all of that in you. It reminded me of when I told the story before about him telling me not to go to the Kings of Comedy. He said, you want to quit cussing, but yet you want to pay $85 for a front row ticket to Kings of Comedy. So he said, so you're going to let somebody cuss you out for 3 hours, and then when you come out, you don't want to be a cusser. He said, that's why you keep cussing, because you think ain't nothing wrong with it. And in fact, you laughing harder than anybody in the whole concert hall. And then I was like,
did you go?
No, I had to tear the tickets up. And tearing the tickets up, I was married at the time. My husband was like, Man, them tickets $200. I ain't tearing them tickets up. Because first thing he said, okay, I'm going to be down with you that we can't go, but I at least got to sell the tickets. I said, well, if we were crack addicts and we were trying to get off of crack,
You went there?
would you sell our stash? Would you sell our pipes?
Well, no, he was mad at you.
But my point is when you want to be sold out for God, you make the hard choices. I can't tell you I'm trying to come out of a world, but girl, here go my tickets to the swingers convention. Don't want them to go to waste, so you go on and have a swinging good time.
But I know people that don't have a problem cussing because that's not their thing too. I'm not saying
Right.
that you swingers, that's really going, far to the left. But I mean, in terms of like, one of the things I would help, because there's so much going around just in everyone's world daily. Like, what if you are a person who that is your line of work and you see that kind of stuff every day? I think that's one of the things I love about the fog call, because you're not just getting a fresh word prepared on Sunday or at Wednesday, and then, like twice a week, because it reminds you that you need to walk with the word daily,
That's
to help position your mind, because man, you might just off the fast, you might just finish and be so clean, and then you got to go back out there and operate in the same world that this mess floating all around. So I think that's one of the vehicles that, not saying you can use that as a crutch or an excuse, to balance. Well, that's like saying you eat some vegetables and you'll still smoke cigarettes.
Right. Or you gonna eat some vegetables, but I'm gonna eat the vegetables on the side of a Big Mac.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
you
I'm
have
saying?
to use exercise wisdom.
But I
and,
feel a commercial for the Fogg family coming up here. We do invite you. Ro and I both listen to the Favor of God Ministry, the Fogg Call, every day. We're 7 days a week, 6:30 West Coast time, Monday through Friday, and 7:30 West Coast time, Saturday and Sunday. Why? Because it's like Rose said, when we say as a man think of so as he, if I want to change my mind, it's only a very weak Christian that thinks the only thing they need to do is invite God in on Sunday from 11 to 12:30, and that'll hold me all week long. If you want to keep it real about your walk with God, you need it. You need life in the Word every day. You need a prayer life without ceasing. You need to have the presence of God in your world. And so that's one of the reasons why we do listen to this daily devotion. And if you don't listen to the daily devotion, have some form of God coming into your life, because the whole point of our show today is with all of this bombarding us. And I can remember when these raunchy shows were just on MTVs and on the BETs and on the VH1. Now the Learning Channel, which they don't even call the Learning Channel anymore, which is the Honey Boo Boo channel, because now, we want to put on Honey Boo Boo, so we can't call ourselves, because we're not teaching you no more. We started out, the mission of this network was to teach you, i.e. our name, the Learning Channel. Now we just want to entertain you.
So now they go by just TLC.
Now we go by the Honey Boo Boo channel.
It's so funny that you just said that, because I was like, yeah, that used to be the Learning. And they also had the one with the brats, the little baby brats.
Mm-hmm. The
pageant,
tiaras.
toddlers and tiaras.
And you
really
would have thought
popular.
after the whole John Bonet thing, nobody would want to be in that world, but now everybody want to be in that world. And it doesn't matter where it is. From dance moms to cheer moms to whoever, again, show me reality behind the scenes so your pain can get on display for me, and I'm hooked and I'm watching. And so, if more people, that was one of the reasons why I loved our show a couple of months ago with Cedric the Entertainer about his show, The Soul Man, which is now switched from TV Land to BET, that here was a show that wasn't the norm. And like I told Cedric when we had him on the show, I hear more scripture in that show than any show I've ever seen on TV. And my thing as Christians is, how do we get more of this on? Because the bottom line is that if Christians weren't watching all of this, if Christians weren't going to see Harry Potter and the Twilight sagas and all of that, the stuff would bomb.
Well, I think too, it goes back to just, how committed are we, not just to the title, but to the lifestyle that the title calls. And, really, it's like, let me ask you, who doesn't brush their teeth every day? Mm-hmm. Is there anybody out there that doesn't at least brush their teeth once
I'm just
a day? We might know somebody in our life personally that we feel never ever brushes, but it's like, okay, we do that, at least once a day, at least in the United States of America, so it's like we do that because we know the toll that will happen on our teeth if we neglect them and don't do that, and not to mention on our teeth, but just in our conversation with the smell of our breath. And so, getting back to the importance of feeding daily on God's word,
right.
so that when you are you can help self monitor yourself, because we all know, just like with food, we know when we get to the point where we're full, or we're eating because it's a comfort, or even if we look up after the fact and the cake is gone, we're like, I really didn't need to do that.
That's right.
And
there's a reason why they call it daily bread.
Yeah.
Because I need it every day. And so, I want to give the number out. The number is 712.
We have a caller, actually. Okay.
The number I'm talking about for the fall call. The number for the fall call, because I don't want to leave you guys hanging who want to listen to the fall call, is 712-432-0750. 712-432-0750. Then you put in the code 486197. And if you want to see that information, just go to favorofgodministry.blogspot.com or look us up on Facebook, and you can tune into this call, or check me out. Check my page out on Facebook. That's all I have a Facebook for, quite frankly. And so you can look at it. But we do have a caller. We want to get our callers' comments or questions in here. Good afternoon, caller. You are live on gospelrhythms.com. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. What's your question or your comment?
I was listening to y'all talking about when you watching them shows to become a reality of your life. Man, I was watching this show called Sons of Anarchy. Are y'all familiar with that show?
I'm not.
A little bit.
I watched it one night, and next thing you know, I was hooked. I had to literally, like you were saying, fast off of the show because I got hooked on it. I watched it from 11 in the afternoon till late night. One time I stayed up all night, didn't go to bed.
Okay.
Now, is that a reality show, just out of curiosity?
Well, you know what it was is I had got Netflix. I had a free 30-day trial, and I saw the show on it and said, let me try this show out, and I just got hooked on it, and I don't even have Netflix no more. I got rid of Netflix and everything.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it does make the portal of accessibility of shows in volume just right there at your pushing a button.
Well, I got a question for you. After you got hooked on it and you watched all these episodes, did it change you?
Well, just the fact that I was staying up all night, almost 24 hours, not literally 24 hours, maybe 12 hours, just for the fact that I watched it that long, that was a change in itself right there.
Wow.
Because I'm a man of God. That was just like, wait a minute, more of this than less of God. That's what it was.
Anarchy, does that have anything to do with, is it
what kind of show is
it? Is it an evil show? Is it
It's a bike. It's Sons of Anarchy was a motorcycle club. So, you know how they make the Hells Angels look like they tough and they running things.
Okay, so was there a lot of violence or a lot of sexual content?
Actually, it wasn't much sexual content, more like criminal activity,
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it wasn't I get hooked on shows, but when they come to that kind of stuff, the naked women and all that, I already got delivered from pornography and all that, and I'm cool on that.
Keep it real.
Well, question, have you ever been addicted to TBN for 12 hours?
Nah, TV. I don't really like TV. Ain't nothing worth 12 hours to watch on there.
But see, that's the thing. It's like there's so much product out there that catches our fancy purposely to make us exhaust non-productive hours, because once the time is spent, it's gone. We can't get it back. And God definitely would have probably preferred us to use it in a more constructive way, even if you were writing that book that he put in your spirit, but you can't write because the enemy gonna sucked you into some mindless activity for 12 hours that may not have been a bad thing for the 1 hour, but now that you didn't put 12 hours in, that's 12 hours of your life spent doing nothing but vegetating in front of the idiot boxes, my mama used to call it.
Exactly.
And that's why that scripture that we gave today. I
watched it for like about 12 hours. I started about 11 or 12.
That's a long time.
That was the first and the last 12 hours, huh?
That's a long time. Right. And our prayer is that, again, we're not trying to make everybody into these, church boys or, you ain't saved if you're not in church 24/7. I really believe in living a for real Christian life. I'm leaving here going to a Super Bowl party. And, I told everybody on the devotion today, I am not a thermometer kind of Christian. When I get to the party, I tell people all the time, don't invite me to your party if you don't expect the atmosphere to change when I get there. Because when I get there, I'm not going to be around a bunch of cursing. I'm not going to be around a bunch of drinking. And so I take it that when you invite me, that's the atmosphere you didn't want to have, because when I come in, I'm changing it. That's how I am, because I'm a thermostat Christian. I set the atmosphere. I'm not just going to read whatever the atmosphere is. And so our hope is that when we pull ourselves out of these shows and we pull ourselves away from this time, that if I gave 12 hours to this show and I was watching this for 4 hours and I watched a marathon marathon of this. Man, did I even read the word for an hour this week? Did I even pray for 10 minutes today? Did I talk to God? And when God says, if you keep me first, I'll add all these things to him, God begins to look at our schedules and say, man, if you had all that time to do that, what you give me?
If you got a better relationship with your remote control, your Netflix account, and the Hulu account, and your TV,
right,
as opposed to the creator who blessed you with all them things, man, something is out of
It's
order.
time for a change. And that's why we do the Word edition of gospelrhythms.com, because we want to bring about change. We just want to make you think. We want our audience out there to say, man, I know better, and it's time for me to do better.
Yeah.
And so this is actually like a part 1, and we're going to go into next month's show where we're actually going to be dealing with some of the stuff with the whole Rihanna and the Chris Brown issue. And so we want you to come back next Sunday for the next edition, the music edition of the gospelrhythms.com. The Word edition is every first Sunday. When we come back, we're going to be talking about empowering women. We're going to have some women on the show that are doing some great things, but we're going to bring in stuff like, what impact does Rihanna getting back with Chris Brown have on the girls who she is a role model for? Doesn't have an impact at all. You know, Evelyn going back to Chad Ochocinco after he head butted her.
Yeah.
Does that matter to you?
And is it even real? Because again, a lot of times certain things in that case, because I think the reality show is coming back up. You know, it could be another situation where it was like Kenya Moore. Okay, we need to have this scripted in.
Oh, her headbutt was real.
No. Her headbutt might be real, but I'm talking about the getting together them just for ratings, because they know everybody's going to be drawn to, like,
absolutely.
Really? So, you know.
So if you want more of this, check us out in the morning, 6:30 West Coast time on the Fog Ministry, and definitely come back here for more gospelrhythms.com next Sunday. Next Sunday, right here on LA Talk Live, 4 o'clock West Coast time. And check this show out. Get people to watch the replay over and over again all week long at LA Talk Live. I am Pastor Dawn.
And I am Ro. Hey, where's our sports music? Because, you know, I just want to say before we go, you know, again, on behalf of the Ravens, I'd like to express my condolences to the 49ers.
Whatever. Anyway, like I said, shout out to Barry Sanders wherever you are in the world. I might be the only one with your shirt on today, but shout out to you from the Gospel Rhythms family.
And this is Heaven's Party. We about to go party. Let's take us home. We'll see you next week.
I'm going to play some spades right now.
You gonna play some spades? I'm not sure what I'm about to do, but I'm gonna get out this
with
dress.
Your black funeral dress on. All right. Ravens. We thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one.
Bye.
I had a spark in me that continues to grow. I knew that I was meant to tell and show. There was music in me, and as I loved, Janet took me on an escapade, and Paula promised me a brand new day, and purple on a raspberry beret. Those were the days. Oh, I wanted nothing more when I was a teen. A song and video on that magic screen. I wouldn't have it any other way. I close my eyes and say, I wanna be. I wanna be on MTV. I say I wanna be. I wanted to be on MTV. Let me hear you say,
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.